Happy Twisted Tuesday, Toasted Tuesday, whatever you want to call it. It's a Tuesday and it's beer drinking time. Today, welcome back to another beer knowledge video with Big Rob, makebeereasy.com or mbehomebrewing.com. Today we're going to talk about, does beer go bad in the heat? You don't know, before we get into it, I'm going to have another swig of beer. If you don't know who I am, you can check me out on my blog. There will be a link under this video. The blog and myself and this channel is all about all things beer, to include random beer knowledge like this one, as well as things like how to make beer. Okay, I'm a big home brewer. I also used to own a microbrewery, little brew pub where we would brew 2 barrels of beer, which is equivalent to about 12 kegs at a time. So I got a little bit of knowledge on that there front. Yes, sir. Today, excuse me, does beer go bad in heat? Here's the deal. Beer, heat itself, and I have my computer over here making sure I cover all the notes. Heat itself is not what causes the quality of the beer to deteriorate. Okay? So the answer is yes and no. Because leaving your beer in the heat will cause the quality to deteriorate quicker, but it's not the actual heat that's doing it. What's happening is no matter how a beer is packaged, whether it's in a bottle or a can or a growler or not so much kegs, because you can pretty much get it out, but oxygen gets in, okay? Oxygen is really bad for beer. As it oxidizes, it deteriorates the quality of the beer and starts to create off flavors, okay? Makes the beer go stale and creates off flavors like cardboard tasting, wet paper. In lighter beers, it loses its hoppiness. Darker beers, malt flavor starts to go. You can get flavors of rotten fruit or sherry-like, brandy-like, that type of stuff. So that's what happens. Now, basically what happens is if you can keep your beer stored, the colder you can keep your beer stored, the longer that oxidization takes to happen. Okay, so there's a general rule of thumb in the brewing industry, is beer will go bad or stale in 3 days if it kept at 90 degrees or higher Fahrenheit. Okay, 30 days it'll go bad if it's stored at 72 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. And it will last as long as 300 days if stored at 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so fridge type temperatures. 72, I mean, room temperature is what, 68, something like that. This is a rule of thumb in the industry, but in my opinion, you can go a few months at room temperature. 72 is warmer than room temperature, but in my experience, you can go a few months at room temperature, storing at room temperature. So heat does have a significant impact on your beer, but it's not the heat per se, it's actually the oxygen, and heat speeds up the oxidization process. Okay, does that make sense? So yeah, heat can mess up your beer. It's not going to mess you up. A lot of people come into a brew pub and say, is it okay if should I wait to fill up my growler before I leave? Is it going to warm up and, ruin the quality? Traveling home in my car I got to stop and get some groceries. It's going to be in the car for an hour. Is that going to ruin the quality of the beer? I'm going out hiking and I want to take some beer with me. Being out transporting in my backpack, is that going to ruin the quality of the beer because it's going to be warm out? The answer is no. Okay, we're talking it's going to take days. At 90 degrees Fahrenheit, it's going to take 3 days. Okay, so if you have concerns about getting your beer home or out to whatever activity you're going to be doing in the sun, it's not going to ruin the beer. Okay. Another question that people will ask a lot of is, can I take my beer out of the fridge and it gets warm? Is that going to affect the quality? It does not. In fact, beer is very durable, very hardy. You can take a warm beer, put it in the fridge, take it out of the fridge, let it get warm again, and toss it back in the fridge, and it's still not going to ruin the quality of the beer. Okay. Excuse me. So Another question people ask me is, what temperature does beer go bad at? There's actually no specific temperature that beer goes bad at, okay? There's no specific temperature that it instantly is going to go bad. If we're out in 100-degree weather, 41 Celsius, whatever, down in Nevada, is my beer going to go bad? It's not that there's a certain temperature. It's that the beer will start oxidizing based on temperature and duration of time that it's exposed to that temperature. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Do you have to refrigerate your beer? No, you don't need to be refrigerated. It does not need to be refrigerated, and you don't need to be either, although it will extend the life of the beer. The main reason that people do put beer in the fridge is because they are used to drinking the mass-produced commercial beer. Back in the day, in craft brewing and home brewing, they make quality beer that is made from quality grains, whereas the mass-produced beers that you see on the market, where they're always doing promos for and try to sell cheaper or whatever, those beers use lesser quality grains such as corn and rice, and it has made a lesser product. But they figured out if they can keep it cold, it hides the low quality flavor, makes you think that it tastes better because it is colder. So they recommend, serve it cold, ice cold. Beer, high quality beer is actually very good at room temperature or just under. You go to a lot of the old pubs, the old world, and they are served at room temperature. So no, beer does not have to be refrigerated. Lower quality beer definitely tastes better cold. Okay. Really quick, frequently asked questions. Is it bad to keep beer in a hot car? We've already covered that. You're fine. I wouldn't leave it there for 3 days or anything. But if you're transporting home, you'd be fine. How can we tell if beer is bad? It's going to be the flavors. It's the only way. You might be able, if it's real bad and real old, maybe some aroma, but really it's just going to be the flavors. It's going to be off flavors. On my blog post, I actually provide a link to 20 different off flavors that beer can have, so you can check that out over there. Can you store beer in a hot place? We already talked about that. Another little rule of thumb I put in here is that a beer kept at 100 degrees Fahrenheit for a week will be stale tasting as a beer kept at 70 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 months, and one kept at 40 degrees Fahrenheit for a year. So that gives you some guidelines to go on, guys. Again, if you're just concerned, your beer is going to be in the car for a little while, or what have you, then have no fear. You're going to be okay. You can get your beer home. You can take it for a day outside and enjoy it, and your beer is going to maintain its quality. It's just if you extend it, if you leave it in high temperatures for an extended period of time, then it's going to break down quicker. That's what I got for you guys. Cheers. Happy Tuesday. And like I say, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop me a comment if you got something to say. If you don't, it's all right. And check out my blog post, link under this video. That's it, Big Rob. Well, he's out.